found. Then I want 100 bucks on a stretch. I'm taking pontoons, wedding pants, and
Well, hello everybody. My name is Jason DeCosta. Thank you for joining me on my show today called Consistent Preterism. Cruising Consistent Preterism, I should say, as it is about 11 p.m. on Saturday evening, and I just landed from a trip to Chicago where I ate copious amounts of deep dish pizza and probably gained close to 9 pounds in the span of four and a half days. So all is well in carb land. Just wanted to check in. I know it's been a while since I last posted. I don't want people to think that I'm giving up on you. As I had mentioned in some of my more recent recordings, that my schedule is going to be a little packed over the next month or so. And the way that my job works, sometimes you have these clusters of trips that kind of just fall back to back to back to back, and when that stuff's going on, it's kind of tough to keep everything in check. So sometimes I have to kind of check out for a little while and take care of what needs to be taken care of. And so that's what I've been doing, just kind of focusing on that. And sometimes, like I've said before, you sort of go through peaks and valleys, ups and downs. The Holy Spirit decides when he wants to play and when he doesn't. Kidding, obviously, but you tend to kind of, me anyway, I tend to kind of get on a roll, if you will, and put forth and pump out audio after audio after audio when the juices are a-flowing. But then there comes a point where life gets busy and things pile up, and you got responsibilities and trips and things going on, and work is getting busier, and so you don't have the time to do it anymore. And then when you kind of stop, you sort of lose that mojo, and you're not in it as much. So bear with me when I'm in those peaks and valleys. Mostly the valleys, I'm asking you to bear with me. The peaks we can all kind of celebrate at the top of the mountain and do headstands. But so who knows when I'll be back in that kind of role again. I mean, I may get the urge to do a couple random audios in the next couple of weeks, but I do have quite a packed travel schedule coming up right through the end of October and even into November. So we'll see what happens. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? I heard that Donnie K. Preston and Ed Stevens are now doing a debate on the rapture idea. Someone sent me Don's opening statement, and I opened it up, and I'm just like, man, it's like banging your head against the wall trying to read that stuff, because, those of you who understand what I'm talking about, Don K. Preston, although he's done a lot of good work for the full preterist community, the inconsistent full preterist community, he is the dictionary definition of overkill and overdoing it and overcomplication and smoke screens and speaking too much, and I mean, he readily admits this when he did the foreword for my book, The Kingdom of Christ, and when he published it, he actually said in his foreword, if I'm not mistaken, that his own wife, says that he doesn't know how to say hello in less than 25 words. So, obviously he's joking there, but there's an element of truth to that. He is overly thorough to the point where I think he misses the mark and overcomplicates things rather frustratingly. And so he came at Ed with his opening statement on this rapture debate, and I read, I don't know, like the first few points, and then I realized that he put forth 60 points in his opening statement to Ed. 60. And and of course he's overcomplicating and smoke screening and straw manning and all this stuff. And then at the end of his presentation, I found it so funny. He says, "It is now Ed's responsibility and duty to address all of my points." So what does he do? in typical Don fashion, like he did with me in the engagements that we had on Facebook over the Israel-only topic, he puts forth paragraph after paragraph after paragraph after paragraph of stuff, a lot of it totally irrelevant to the main topic, and then he demands that you address all of his points, and if you don't, he says that you didn't touch that, or you didn't bother addressing that, or you didn't breathe upon that. In other words, he's trying to say that you have no answer for what he's presenting, but in actuality, what he's presenting most of the time has nothing to do with the core issues. And so I just found that comical. He's demanding that Ed would address all 60 of his points. Now, if Ed's going to sit there and have to address and explain away all 60 of Don's points in a given amount of space and time, then how is Ed ever going to present his case as to why the rapture is biblical and is the true biblical picture? He can't. It's absolutely impossible, and it would wear one down and drain one out immediately. And this is, again, why I just don't think debates are very profitable. Because you have one guy affirming, one guy denying. It's the denier's responsibility to prove the affirmer wrong, yada, yada, yada. Give me a break. Let's just go toe-to-toe on the core issue and let's figure it out. Because a lot of times in my, personal experiences and interactions with people, I don't need to go, speak for an hour or write for 40 pages in order to knock you out or to knock your argument out. There are what I call TKO arguments or TKO passages or TKO portions that I can present in certain, discussions and certain topics that automatically eliminate your argument hands down. It takes you right out of the game. Like I always said before, it doesn't even allow your argument to get 1 foot out of bed. For instance, when Billy Bell was trying to be the hero and step up and say that people are Gentiles today being saved and arguing about the law and how Adam's curse is still relevant and all this, he doesn't realize that they're all moot points. These are all moot points that don't matter. And why is that? Well, because the fullness of the Gentiles came in by the coming of the Lord, and in that way all Israel was saved. Okay, this is a completed salvation story, if you couldn't tell by the fact that these scriptures expired roughly 2,000 years ago when the temple fell. So these arguments take their breath away before they can even get anything out. And some of them are dumb enough to keep coming back and fighting and arguing and playing dumb, but they don't realize that all the Gentiles who needed salvation did in fact receive it, like Paul said in Acts 13. As many Gentiles that were appointed unto eternal life believed. So all the Gentiles who were elect, who were predestined before the foundation of the world, did in fact believe before the coming of the Lord. And in that way, as a result of them believing and being grafted in and being sealed, all Israel was saved because they were a part of Israel as a whole. So again, these TKO points can a lot of times take out someone's argument hook, line, and sinker before you even have to get into all the debate crap. So that's why another reason why I don't care for debates. But it'll be interesting to see what Ed Stevens does. Now, I didn't read all of Don's points. I just couldn't. It's cringeworthy stuff. Okay, I mean, he makes things so very hard. I mean, if you have to redefine terms and wiggle around what's so obviously stated and search for what the one Greek word that the Bible uses that might mean something slightly different than actually taking them away into a different place. That's what Don does. He finds the one or two rare instances where there may be a slightly different connotation or a slightly different meaning to the word that is used for, say, harpazo or whatever it is. And he says, see, it doesn't have to mean this. It doesn't have to mean that God took them somewhere else. This one instance says otherwise. It's a possibility. So, he just does a lot of that kind of thing. And I go where the evidence leads, where there is more evidence and where it fits better with the story and with the flow of the story. That's where I'm going to go. and those of you who have listened to some of my previous rapture teachings know that the proof is everywhere. It just makes so much sense. And I am going to eventually hopefully get to that full rapture teaching where I lay out all the passages, but that's going to take some time, and honestly I haven't even begun working on it yet, so don't hold your breath, but hopefully I do get to that at some point in the future. But so I haven't read Preston's entire thing, nor will I. I read about the first 5 or 6 points, and then I skipped down all the way down to the end of it, and I read his last few points, and I read his closing paragraph. And what I thought was kind of funny and ironic is that oftentimes in his ending points, he mentioned that that if a rapture is true, not in these exact words, I'm paraphrasing, but he made the case that if a rapture indeed is true, then that means that salvation wasn't for anyone other than those of that. In other words, salvation ended at the coming of the Lord. And I just kind of chuckled and shook my head like, by golly, he's getting it. Although he's not, of course, because he's arguing that is not the case. But yes, that is the case. Salvation did end at the coming of the Lord. That was the whole point. So it's going to be interesting to see what Ed does and how he answers all 60 of those points. But, Ed is far closer to the truth than Don is in that regard. Ed's obviously got his problems too. I mean, what on what planet do you have to be from to hold to a literal rapture view in AD 70, but yet say that the gospel continues after that literal rapture? So the gospel is preached by people, right? The good news, the peace comes through the feet of those who preach it, right? So how is the gospel going forth if all those whom the gospel received were taken away? Doesn't make any sense, yet this is exactly what Ed believes. So Ed is very, very, very strange human being when it comes to his theology, although he does have that portion correct, that they were indeed taken, but he doesn't complete and take it full circle and realize that the reason why they were taken is because, like Matthew 24:14 states, the gospel went to all the world and to all the nations, and then the end came. Salvation ended, and those who were Christ were taken, caught up together in the clouds with the rest of the dead, where they would forever be with the Lord and be like angels in heaven and never die anymore. So Ed's got some weird theology, but I think in terms of the rapture debate, he definitely has the stronger argument. But just like any Don Preston work, Don has complicated things so much in his opening statement and has gone off topic so radically in all 60 of his points that it's going to be nearly impossible for Ed to steer that thing back into the lane and get people to realize that the strength of his argument is such that it doesn't allow Don's points to even get a foot out of bed. But I don't know if that's going to be possible because of how much smoke Don just kicked up in that opening statement. People fall for that kind of stuff pretty easily. If you don't have the mind and the ability to cut through all that crap and push away all that smoke and see the core issues, you're going to be really led into confusion. And I think that's what most of Preston's people sit, unfortunately. So it'll be interesting to see that. Let's see. On another note, I was just in Chicago, and I have a lot of friends in the dental and medical industries, and it's kind of like a big traveling circus. You see these people everywhere you go. Excuse me. And there's this one guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but he owns a company out of Colorado, and I'm actually better friends with his twin brother, who also works for the company. He's vice president. But this guy owns the company, and he and I occasionally will meet up and chat, or he'll come by and say hi and shoot the shit. And somehow we got in. We were at the bar having a beer after the meeting, and we started talking about YouTube. And I don't know how we got on it, but just started talking about YouTube, and I told him I have a YouTube channel, whatever, and he got into what it was about. Told him I'm basically I don't even know what you would call me, really. I'm not a Bible scholar. I'm just a regular guy who likes to study the Bible, and I've come to some pretty different conclusions than mainstream fundamental Christians. And so got into that a little bit, not very much, 5-10 minutes. He's not religious or anything like that, so you really don't have a lot to talk about in that regard. But what I found interesting is that his son is a YouTube legend. Okay, now he said he was talking about YouTube, and I had mentioned that I have a little YouTube channel, and then he hit me with the fact that he has a son who is a gamer. Okay, he's a video gamer. I don't know if that's what you call him, but that's what I'm going to call it. He's a video gamer, and he's a gaming legend, apparently. He goes by the name on YouTube, Mr. Fruit. And the dad told me that the reason why he chose that name is because all his life, when he was a kid, when he would sit and play video games, he had to have a bowl of fruit by his side. And so he would sit and play these video games and have this big bowl of fruit by his side. So that sort of stuck. And about, I think he said 5 years ago, he started putting up YouTube videos of him playing these video games. And, and he would comment and commentate and, give commentary and, humor, and he got pretty creative with it. And so he's doing these videos, and, he had a little bit of a following. And and then one day, like a year and a half into this was maybe 4 years ago, one of the big gamer sites referenced him. They said something or posted one of his videos to their site or whatever. And so all of a sudden, he got like 40,000 subscribers literally within like 3 hours. And so he's telling me this story, and I'm just fascinated because, I'm on YouTube, and obviously I'm not doing this for money or anything, but I always, now that I'm kind of in that world a little bit, I realize, how much of a commitment it is, and also just how dedicated you have to be, and stick with it, and in order to have success on YouTube. And again, that's not why I'm in it. I'm in it just for truth, and just to help people see what I see, and just to chop it up a little bit and get some of these thoughts and ideas out of my head. Otherwise I'll go nuts, because I don't have people around me that I can talk to this stuff about. Obviously, there's not many theologians in my neck of the woods who would, let's just put it this way, they wouldn't deal with what I have to say very calmly. They would, their heads would explode. So it's good to have a small community, even if it be just a couple hundred people that I can share some of these things with. But so he's telling me about this, and I'm just kind of fascinated with this. And so he went on to tell me that his son got that 40,000 subscribers in like a period of 3 hours. And then from there, he just started getting subscription after subscription after subscription. And fast forward to today, 4 years later, Mr. Fruit has 1.3 million subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, 1.3 million. And and the dad started telling me the financials. Now, mind you, this guy's very successful. He's got his own business, multi-million-dollar annual sales business, and who knows what he makes. I'm sure he makes multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And so he is telling me that his son, last year, mind you, this kid is 23. So last year, the year 2017, his son cleared $1 million in earnings just by doing YouTube videos. $1 million. And what happens is, when you monetize your videos, you can do them in different ways. You can have different types of ads. You can do ads that are longer for more money. You can do shorter ads, whatever it is. I don't know how it really works, but there's all types of different ways you can do it. And so this kid, Mr. Fruit, puts up 2 YouTube videos per day, every day. 2 videos. They're like 10 to 30 minutes long a piece, somewhere in that range, 15 to 30 minutes each. 2 per day. And his channel averages, the full channel collectively averages about a half a million views per day on all the videos on YouTube. So he gets monetization from all the ads. He gets money from those who subscribe. There's a program that if you don't want to watch the ads and you like the content and the channel enough, you can actually pay a fee and just become a member without ads, and many people do that. So he gets more money for that. He actually has merchandise now. When he hit like 500,000 subscribers, he got an agent. He got like a financial advisor, and then they started doing merchandise, like Mr. Fruit t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats. This kid goes to gaming conventions, and he's like a celebrity. He signs autographs. It's just incredible what this kid's doing, all from YouTube. And it just fascinated me. I know this is completely off topic, but I just wanted to share it. The dad told me there was a few months in 2017 where he cleared over $120,000 in earnings just from doing this. He quit college. He dropped out of college when he realized that he had a career here. And now all he does is these videos. He plays video games, posts a couple a day. He told me that he battles depression, and that's part of this. A lot of gamers, supposedly, he said, have depression issues. And so it's sort of like this kid is like a beacon of light or hope for these people. And he talks about depression a lot too. So there's some good that comes out of it. He raised a lot of money for St. Jude's research and stuff. So he does a lot of good charitable work as well. He's not keeping all the money, but the kid's got it going on. And he just bought his second house. Dad said the first house he paid about $600K for. The second one he paid about $800K for. 2 houses at age 23. He's got money in the bank stacking like you wouldn't believe. All from just doing what he loves, sharing stuff on YouTube, and garnered a following. And now he's at 1.3 million. So just amazing. And you know, me having just over 200 subscribers on YouTube, I'm sitting there like, yeah, I'm a loser. But you know, it's not about that. It's not about the amount of followers. It's about the content itself. And obviously, in terms of theology, you're talking a whole different world than video games. But yeah, it was just an amazing story. So I checked out a few of his videos today while I was at the airport, and you got to admit, he's entertaining. He surely has all the right equipment. You know, he's got all the graphics. He's got all kinds of stuff in there, and it's paying off bountifully for him. So yeah, so 1.3 million subscribers, and he is growing every day. And hey, if you can do it, why not, right? But anyways, so other than that, I just wanted to check in, say hi. I know it's been a week since I posted. Like I said, I don't know when the next video or audio will come out. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to need some time. I do have a little bit of free time tomorrow, but it's my first free day in a while. I probably will share this audio tomorrow, which is Sunday, and then just watch some football and get ready for my next trip, which I leave on Tuesday. So, but other than that, folks, I hope you're all doing well. I hope everybody is enjoying their lives, and we will be back another day, another time, another place, and another rhyme. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.